Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 46. And we are still in the 7th Academy Award ceremony, 1934 movies. And this time I watched Cleopatra, and I watched it on DVD. I was not able to find it streaming anywhere. This was a 75th anniversary DVD, came out in 2009. Got it for about $9, $8.50, something like that. So, just to jump in here, this was directed by Cecil B. DeMille, written by Waldemar Young, Vincent Lawrence, Bartlett Cormack, produced by Cecil B. DeMille, starring Claudette Colbert, Warren William, Henry Wilcoxon, cinematography by Victor Milner, edited by Ann Bauschens, uncredited, music by Rudolph G. Kopp, and distributed by Paramount Pictures. It was released on October 5th, 1934. It's 100 minutes long. The description here is Cleopatra is a 1934 American epic film directed by Cecil B. DeMille, distributed by Paramount Pictures, a retelling of the story of Cleopatra VII of Egypt. The screenplay by Waldemar Young and Vincent Lawrence was based on Bartlett Cormack's adaptation of historical material. Claudette Colbert stars as Cleopatra, Warren William as Julius Caesar, and Henry Wilcoxon as Mark Antony. And Colbert and Warren Williams were both in Imitation of Life, I believe, that I watched earlier in this round of Oscars. She was the main character in that, and he was like a love interest later on in the movie. So they had two Oscar nominated pictures the same year. Cleopatra received 5 Academy Award nominations. It was the first DeMille film to receive a nomination for Best Picture. Victor Milner won the Academy Award for Best Cinematography. Production. The shooting was difficult due to Colbert contracting appendicitis on the set of her previous film, Four Frightened People, leaving her only able to stand for a few minutes at a time. Heavy costumes complicated matters further. Also, due to Colbert's fear of snakes, DeMille put off her death scene for as long as possible. At the time of shooting, he walked onto the set with a boa constrictor wrapped around his neck and handed Colbert a tiny garden stake. On July 1st, 1934, 90 years ago, the Motion Picture Production Code began to be rigidly enforced and expanded by Joseph Breen. Talkie films made before that date are generally referred to as pre-code films. However, DeMille was able to get away with using more risque imagery than he would be able to do in his later productions. He opens the film with apparently naked but strategically lit slave girl holding up an incense burner in each hand as the title appears on screen. The film is also memorable for the sumptuous Art Deco look of its sets and costumes, the atmospheric music composed by Rudolph George Kopp, and for DeMille's legendary set piece of Cleopatra's seduction of Antony, which takes place on Cleopatra's barge. Colbert later said DeMille's films were special. Somehow, when he put everything together, there was a special kind of glamour and sincerity. On August 16th, 1934, Cleopatra received its world premiere at the Paramount Theater in New York City. The premiere audience, which gave the film a standing ovation, included social leaders, diplomats, and famous stars of stage and screen. In its first week at the Paramount, the film set an annual record with 110,383 admissions. This, it's a good looking movie. As it said, one for cinematography, like the sets for 1934, the sets and the costumes are amazing. I did not like the movie itself that much. And I'm going to be perfectly honest. It took me 2 sittings to finish it, not because it was that long or anything, but I started it one morning when I hadn't gotten a lot of sleep and was falling asleep. So I stopped to give it another chance. And I watched it like late another night, maybe the same night, to finish it. And so both times I was tired and it was a little hard to focus on it, to be honest, but it also didn't keep my attention through that tiredness. So it was, the acting is what it is for 1934. It's fine, but everybody, was just talking with that affected North American accent. And sort of Britishy, but not really. And it's Egypt and Rome. Again, as I've said before, on many of these, I get why it would have been a big deal and popular back then. It was impressive. for its set pieces and costumes and everything, but it did not really do anything for me. Colbert's a good actress. Warren Williams good, but he played Caesar and he died fairly early into the movie. The guy that played Mark Antony, I did not like. I did not think he was good at all. And I don't know what else he's been in, but he was very out of place to me in the movie. He just didn't fit with the rest of it. Even Warren Williams was a little bit out of place, to be honest, but he at least had a little bit of charisma as Caesar, whereas Henry Wilcoxon did not have any charisma as Antony. So, yeah, I didn't love it, but it was fine. Like, I wouldn't watch it again, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I think I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. So that is where I'll leave it. So we've got one more left in this Oscar ceremony. And then we'll wrap this one up and move on to the 1935 movies. Looking forward to getting into just a new round of movies. Hopefully I can find more of these not on DVD. So it will be a little cheaper. That's all I have for this one. We'll see you next time.